Assisted Lab, configuring file shares in Windows. Scenario: storage is usually provisioned for the purpose of hosting resources, often either file storage or a database. In both cases, you need to ensure that the resources are secured against unauthorized access. This is typically accomplished through access control lists, ACLs. Each resource, such as a file or folder, is tagged with an ACL. The ACL contains entries about which subjects, user and group accounts, have permissions, read/write, or full control. When a user requests access, the OS evaluates the user's claims, based on permissions allocated to their account plus permissions obtained via group memberships, and determines the level of access that should be granted. To complete this lab, evaluate the access control model implemented on the network and create some file shares with the appropriate permissions. Audit the user accounts, security groups, and organizational units (OU) configured on the domain to ensure they meet security goals. The network owner is trying to reduce use of the domain administrator account by separating duties. Management of users and group policies that affect users with no administrative privileges can be delegated to the SAM user account. Jamie's account has been assigned to a local admin security group. The purpose of this group is to manage member servers, including the MS-10 file server and workstations. Users with this role cannot configure domain accounts or policies or manage the domain controller. Objectives: this activity is designed to test your understanding of and ability to apply content examples in the following CompTIA server plus objectives. 1.2 Given a scenario, deploy and manage storage. 2.3 Given a scenario, configure and maintain server functions and features. 0% tasks complete. Next, review group scopes. Review group scopes. The scope of a security group determines what permissions it can be allocated and what types of account can be made members of the group. Local groups can be granted permissions on the same computer only. Local groups are stored in the Computer's Security Accounts Manager (SAM) registry, not an Active Directory. A local group can contain any type of domain account as a member, however. Domain local groups can be granted permissions on any resource, such as a server's file share, within the same domain. Members of domain local accounts can be of almost any type of scope. Note the distinction between local and domain local groups. A local group has the scope of a single computer only. A domain local group can be assigned permissions on any member of the same domain. It is helpful to think of domain local as meaning domain resource to distinguish the two. Global groups can be granted permissions across a forest, but can only contain users/computer and global security accounts from the same domain. Note that a domain local scoped group cannot be a member of a global group. Delegate permissions. The default domain administrator account is not one that should be used for routine administration. There are lots of default group accounts you could use, but these tend to have inappropriate privileges, such as the right to log on to the DC. The delegate control feature allows in to be granted limited permissions over a subset of network objects that have been assigned to OUs. Configure the SAM user account to have delegated control over the non-admin's OU. Audit Group Account Membership. While Jamie can manage the computers, Sam's account has been delegated control to manage non-administrative users and determine what they can and cannot do based on organizational requirements. In this scenario, we have two departments, sales and HR. For the most part, HR can access both HR and sales resources, while sales should not be able to access HR resources. Also, some sales users should only be able to view sales resources, not change them. The PC10 VM has the Remote Server Administration (RSAT) tools installed. This allows a user with appropriate privileges to configure domain properties and remote server services without logging onto the local server or DC. Use these permissions to audit the accounts. Configure file share. You have verified the configuration of a set of nested groups to define organizational roles with different levels of access to resources. Sam's account does not have permission to configure the actual file share, though. You need to ask a colleague with local administrator privileges to do that. Use an account that has been granted local administrator privileges over all the VMs except DC1 to configure a file share. Review lab. Answer the following comprehensive questions to ensure that you recognize the importance of the activity steps and the uses for the information you have learned. Which acronym summarizes Microsoft's role-based design for Active Directory objects? Correct. What general security policy was put into practice by defining different permissions for Jamie and Joe? Delegation. Segregation of duties. Scope-based permissions. Single sign-on, SSO. Auditing. Correct. 100% tasks complete. Previous next, grade lab. Grade lab. That concludes this lab. Please ensure you end it properly rather than just closing the browser window. Once you select Submit, you will not be able to return to this lab instance. If you want to repeat the lab, you can launch a new instance from your lab portal. Check all the step boxes above to mark all tasks as complete and make sure you have submitted responses to all the activities. Select Submit below to grade the lab. 100% tasks complete. Previous submit.